I scored the fight a draw. Golovkin gave up like the first 4 rounds or something. Came on late. Last round I gave to Canelo. Man, props to Canelo, man, he's a badass. He was actually landing like the more solid, more effective seeming punches. You know, combinations. Golovkin is a tad predictable, a little repetitive with his work. Walking to fire, you know what I mean? But that chin on Triple G, man. I mean, the amount of flush punches he was taking, you know, at times. But to his credit, also at times he was deflecting, you know. Body shots, man. I think Canelo's body shots and the lack of body shots by Triple G, man, kept Canelo in the fight, man. Canelo was able to use his wrists, although getting hit a little bit in there, you know what I mean? But the ropes are helpful too, man. He plays the rope really to perfection, man. The man has also a sturdy chin, because he also got hit with a couple of shots, but he rolled with enough of them also. I had it a draw, man. I'm gonna see how this plays out as far as scoring goes. Harold Letterman has it 8-4 for Golovkin, and I don't know. I don't see that. Okay, it's a draw. I thought I was recording, man, and I wasn't, so gotta do that shit again. Anyway, man, like Triple G was making excuses. A lot of Mexican style was being mentioned. Also, he was like shouting out Kazakhstan, you know what I mean? Now he's all Kazakh, back to the roots and shit. Anyway, man, hey, Triple G said he wanted a drama show and all that stuff, man, but know one thing, man, Triple G didn't want anything to do with the inside work and the clinches and stuff, you know, he was looking to the ref to break them. He doesn't like to be in the pocket, man. I don't think so. He's not the inside fighter that... And Canelo is not like... I don't know if he's like the greatest inside fighter, but he's better at it than Golovkin, man. You could see that. And he was landing the more solid punches, the more clean punches, you know. But Triple G has to be given credit for his chin, man. It's crazy. Yes, sir. Talking maybe rematch or whatever. Triple G was talking like he doesn't necessarily care. And at the expression, you could kind of tell Canelo was disappointed. Whereas Triple G was kind of content with the draw. He has still his belts. And, you know, shout out to Kazakhstan and shit. Wasn't the classic that it was made out to be, you know what I mean? You can't overhype shit. That's what we learned once again. The real fight, like Oscar de la Hoya said. It wasn't a classic. But whatever. It was a decent fight. It's not contending with all the other Fight of the Year candidates, you know? Once again, decent fight. Good night of boxing. I'm out. Ever Sanchez is planting them seeds, maybe hoping to go to Canelo in the rematch, to fight a more stationary fight. He's complaining about Canelo almost running in the first fight. And to a degree, you might be right. I think after the third round especially, it seemed like Canelo started gassing a little bit. Obviously he's not going to stand in front of Triple G, that's not a sensible game plan. An approach to take after seeing Cal Brook and Ben Jacobs doing better with a puncher boxer style, you know, dependent on movement to exploit maybe a slower Golovkin, you know. And Golovkin, since these fights, you know, he hasn't really gone to the body. Even at the Cal Brook fight, I felt like he kind of neglected the body work, although having very much success, you know. He was swinging definitely from the fastest looking little square on against Danny Jacobs, man. He was getting turned, man, with body shots, so it was actually interesting to see him getting pushed back and not really retaliating, you know. I mean, we all remember how he dismantled fighters like Matthew Macklin, Martin Merry to the body, you know. He's fighting better talent, you know. A higher level of competition. Therefore, he's not getting to use every aspect of his game. I actually also feel that Gennady fought a more technical fight than he got given credit for. He was able to evade a lot of these punches by a tired Canelo who was swinging for the fences. At times when he stopped, he would stop with a diamond roll, a couple of good shots, and then go back on his toes, which was, like I said, a sensible approach. Now, the trainer is obviously having a couple of things to say, Abel Sanchez, who's most of the time the guy that's speaking in all this promotion, really, you know what I mean? It's like Abel Sanchez versus Canelo Alvarez. Did Canelo say he's gonna knock out Triple G in the first fight? I'm not sure right now, but Sanchez is saying that Canelo went back on his promise, I guess. And there's a weird, like, little excuse for Gennady not being able to throw body punches. He's saying it's not the kind of fight where you want to get a point taken away. I'm sure a lot of those thoughts have gone through his mind. I noticed that he didn't really go back to the body after that. Okay. Before that he's saying Triple G was warned on 2 separate occasions by referee Kenny Bayless for hitting Canelo in the back. But his reason is that Canelo is obviously turning with punches and at times exposing his back to Golovkin, who's already in motion of throwing a body punch. And I guess the ref got into Gennady's head. I don't really remember that, you know. But wouldn't be a surprise, you know, Kenny Bayless is a very active ref. So it's like breaking the action or voice commands and He's very involved. We've seen that in the second Floyd Mayweather-Marcos Maidana fight. It's funny, he says, I thought Golovkin had some moments where he could have capitalized, and he didn't. Canelo fought the fight necessary for him not to get knocked out. I thought Canelo fought a great fight for the style that he fought. Like, talk about the backhanded compliment, right? He fought a great fight not to get knocked out. It's kind of weird. But in a way he's right, I guess, you know what I mean? He wasn't really there stationary. But then again, he had enough breaks on the ropes for Gennady. You know, Gennady had to respect Canelo's power, it seemed like, you know? He didn't like the flashy, explosive combinations of Canelo, you know? At times he was getting hit with them. Not that he was getting hurt with anything, but especially to the body, I think Gennady can be hurt, you know? And more than likely, he didn't want to feel Canelo's body punching. That's why he maybe neglected his body punching, you know? Yeah, it's really just like Abel Sanchez pleading, you know what I mean? With the public, really. But maybe he's trying to plant seeds, like I said, in the Canelo camp. Trying to, you know, call him on his Mexican roots, and maybe the Mexican people, hopefully, are gonna call for Canelo to fight maybe a more toe-to-toe fight against Gennady Golovkin. It's fine. This is a rematch on, I don't even know. It's not, right? But there are maybe negotiations. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it took a while for them to get back into the ring together, you know, because I think it's a draw in both their records. Triple G aging, Canelo maybe even getting better, you know? Is he in his prime now? I don't know. Funny thing is that, what's his name? Sanchez says, now that they know each other better, maybe they can go after each other more. Which usually doesn't play out like that, right? In a rematch. They know each other better, so it's going to be a little bit more tactical. Yeah, listen, I wouldn't mind. It was actually an interesting styles matchup, you know. But I made a video, man, on my other channel, Drunk on Punch, called Canelo Slows Down versus Golovkin, right? I started with the video, like, kind of editing the moments that I felt like were... I started the video really making it about, like, Canelo slowing down, because he was taking a lot of breaks, started clinching, being on the run a lot more, started to go on the ropes, you know. Maybe it's the old conditioning problem of Canelo. But eventually it became like a highlight video, you know. Yeah, it's from the third round on. I felt like that's when the fight actually kind of, from Canelo's perspective, started slowing down, you know, and actually the fight got a little bit more interesting. Before that, I felt Canelo, with his explosiveness, mobility, he was being first and getting the better of Golovkin. But I'm definitely looking forward to the rematch. If it happens, when it happens, I'm up for it. Alright, I'm out. Peace out.
And then the big one. Saul Alvarez, Daniel Jacobs. Can Jacobs win? Can he win? He could win. With a subtle mix of boxing and brawling, you know what I mean? Counter punching and leading.
I do attribute his physical transformation to his success in the first fight. I scored the fight a draw. Golovkin gave up like the first 4 rounds or something. Came on late. Last round I gave to Canelo. Man. I do attribute his physical transformation to his success in the first fight. He said the only good thing Canelo did in the first fight was run. But what about his slightly hesitant approach to the fight? I do think Canelo's counter-punching ability and his superior explosiveness, they must have had Triple G worried to enter past the jab range, which would have been essential if it really would have intended to overwhelm Canelo, you know. Canelo, while maybe never really hurting Golovkin, he anticipated enough of Triple G's attack, along with his flashy shots, to give the impression at least of being a step ahead of Golovkin and maybe even technically superior. While it was clearly a sign and a direct result of his and his trainer's respect for Canelo's ability, coming in to the fight preparing clearly to be technically sound, which led to clear hesitation on Triple G's part when having Canelo, for example, on the ropes, or when he was allowing Canelo to hold him, when just a couple of years ago you couldn't clinch Triple G, at least without him punching or trying to punch out of the clinch, you know. He was actually kind of vicious with that. Now Abel, good old Abel, he's trying to appeal to Canelo's machismo. He's trying to shame him into a more stationary fight, which kind of has just like a childish feel to it, you know. And I think long-time boxing fans, they definitely can get a chuckle out of that, you know. You know, some of you might actually remember a Sanchez-trained fighter by the name of Terrible Terry Norris, a great fighter and a champion, who got reckless when he fought a past his prime Simon Brown, and he got himself knocked out with a jab, or at least that what led to the knockout, you know. So in the rematch, someone constructed a game plan to avoid exchanges at all costs and like comfortably cruise or run to a white decision. Run! A little hypocrite, good old Abel, but I guess he's appealing to the Mexicans, right? You know, it's kind of hard for me to sympathize with Triple G and his complaints about running, needle marks, commission-sanctioned stacking of hand reps, blatant PED use, when these all are things he's willing to accept in order for him to, you know, make another payday. He's a registered stalker, man, turned battered housewife. For years he's been chasing the likes of Miguel Cotto, Canelo, smaller dudes that at the time seemingly would have had no business in the ring with him, when boxing fans were calling for him to move up in weight and to attempt true division transcending greatness. So now he's in a situation in which he's an aging out of prime puncher, whose chin might be at this point his most effective tool, while Golovkin still has to begrudgingly wait around for Canelo because his choices are limited. He's only aging.
I suspect if Triple G did the things hardcore boxing fans would have liked to see from him much earlier, like go up in weight, he might have been found out already. We're not able to turn the tide with power punching or resilience, facing bigger, stronger, harder punching opposition. Would he have been able to show more of what made him a silver medalist, a little bit of boxing acumen, to outsmart maybe physically more imposing fighters? We'll never know, I guess. Because he never took that challenge, you know? Made your bet, now lie in it. You know, but don't take the moral high ground on anything Goldberg got for you. Because you, sir, chose your path. Trying to sway the Mexicans to your side, but as much as a diva Canelo is, he's theirs. I don't want to hear any more shoutouts to Mexico, my man. I was never overly excited for the first fight, since it was an unnatural matchup in my opinion. It just fit right in with the Mayweather McGregor charade. Remember how they announced the fight? You know, that shit had my stomach turning, man. It actually was fitting to announce that shit after the fast that was Canelo Chavez Jr. Nothing ever made sense about the Chavez Jr. Canelo fight, outside of the money, of course. And that's why Canelo vs. GGG also made sense and was made. That's why we're here again, the money. You know what's crazy and actually a little telling? You know, the more honorable fighter, whose only seeming incentive seems to be to restore the faith fans in him, his career, his name, his accomplishments, you know. This seems to be Canelo. Because boxing fans did respect the fighter that fought Austin Trout when he didn't have to fight him. He fought Erislan Lara when he didn't have to fight him. Granted, he lost a little bit of that respect with dodgy decisions, also along with coming the catchweights, the obvious ducking of fighters like a Triple G and the better 154-pounders in the world. Fighters that were coming up and that would have presented issues to Canelo Alvarez if he didn't see like maybe weakness in the midweight division. He thinks that also Triple G is like ripe for the picking now if he wasn't a year ago. You know? Is he trying to prove he's the better man and can get the victory against his supposed boogeyman in good, convincing fashion without the help of those who are bound to benefit from his success and only to lose in his failings? You know, Canelo is not just a golden goose to Golovkin, but to everybody involved. If I'm Golovkin, I'm going there to body Canelo, man. Without him drooling into a cup after the fight, no man is not going to win the fight. He's not going to pick shit. If Canelo can't spell his name after the fight, I think bad intentions are the only way to circumvent corruption. Golovkin Claus, he shouldn't expect to get any big presents under his Christmas tree. Big present! You know, Sanchez, he wants to rely on Canelo's generosity, but beggars can't be choosers, and since they are begging Canelo to stay there and get punched, they also better come prepared to hunt and execute. Because if they don't, it's going to be Groundhog's Day after the fight. I'm picking Canelo Alvarez. I think he's going to outbox Triple G over the distance. And I feel like he's going to touch the body to keep Triple G guessing and at bay, similar to the first fight. And I expect Triple G to be older and to maybe have trouble with timing, you know. I think Canelo, he wins a decision, man. But in the aftermath, of course, we will always hear people who saw Triple G winning. They're going to be the same people who saw Pacquiao beating Mayweather, right? Just watch it in reverse. You know what I mean? Hello. Hagler Leonard, man. Is this a good comparison fight? And then the big one, Saul Alvarez, Daniel Jacobs. Can Jacobs win? Can he win? He could win. With a subtle mix of boxing and brawling, you know what I mean? Counter punching and leading. I think we will see a representation of today's mindset in boxing. Not really only in boxing, but you know, in boxing especially. It's a constant weighing out of risk and reward, and that carries into the fight, you know? A fighter is mentally in a weird place going into it, you know what I mean? He wants to win. In his mind, he's doing his best, you know, to win. While listening to a game plan, maybe pull Canelo Alvarez by decision. He might even end in a late stoppage, man. Then he might get caught, man, with all that IBF weigh-in regulation, rehydration limit and all that type of shit. Nothing above 170, I heard, or something. Then he's a big boy, you know what I mean? He said he was sluggish in the Triple G fight. He didn't look sluggish, but he knows best, I guess. And he attributed it to the immense rehydration. I don't know anything about weight cutting and shit, man. But I'd say if it's not like the sanctioning body making these rules, you know, then it has to be the promoters, right, Golden Boy? And if they put something like that in there, and if Jacobs' team agreed, I guess, forget about that IBF belt, man. I remember Jacobs, he skipped that IBF day of the fight weigh-in or that shit, you know what I mean? He said, fuck it, I'm not fighting for that belt, man. It's about beating Triple G. He came in with the weight advantage, man, and they talk also a lot about, like, the trainer and Jacobs about the size being a big factor, yeah? So, how does he really rate his own chances of winning, like, as far as from a skills perspective? Is he giving that away, you know? He's already saying, Canelo's the better fighter, man, but I'm gonna bully this dude. Margarito him, you know? Size over skill? I don't know how that's gonna work out. But really what I think, man, if he's gonna hold himself to that regulation, to the IBF regulation, I guess, if it's an IBF regulation, or that weight restriction, if that's going to be the case, because he looked a little sucked in at the weigh-in, you know, in comparison also to Canelo. We've seen, especially at 155, Canelo weight, looking a little sucked in, you know what I mean? Even at 154 and 152 and all that stuff, you know what I mean? But he looked pretty healthy, you know? Jacobs though. We'll see how that works out, man. But I think if he has a good rehydration, that will help him as far as absorbing punches. But regardless how much size he will put on, I don't think his tactics will reflect that, man. I think they've seen that Mayweather and Lara had success boxing Canelo. Trout, you know. He will underperform, man. He will try to play it cute, be negative, come up short on scorecards. He will do enough for hardcore fans, I guess, of his to say he was robbed on the cards and whatever. But I think we're gonna see a Lara-esque performance. And I think that actually what also bit him in the ass against Triple G at times, you know. He was a little too much on the bike. Too pot, not even pot shot, he was like, he was slapping a lot, you know what I mean? As much as people say like his size is going to be a factor and that he also can pop, Dan Jacobs is he has become kind of a slapper, man. Or maybe he always was a slapper, but I've seen him sit down on his punches a little bit more in the past, you know, but he has become a slapper. It's funny, man. Actually, the way he also got Peter Quillen out of there, it was kind of slappy, you know, but he has fast hands, he throws in combinations when he throws and throws to the body. So I'd like to see that if he can do that, but then again, maybe all that southpaw stuff, maybe we'll fight southpaw and try to be too spoily, you know. Although I don't really see that in Dan Jacobs, the guy, you know, I don't want to accuse him of running against Triple G because that's not what he was doing, you know. He was fighting a great fight against Triple G. I think he won. But you got to get your tactics right against Canelo. And I think he will try to be more defensively sound against Canelo. I know this sounds crazy because Triple G has this stigma of a big puncher, but Canelo is probably the defensively more responsible. So I think he has a counter punching ability that the Triple G doesn't have. So you got to kind of mind your P's and Q's as far as like overstepping your boundaries offensively, you know? So I'm thinking it's gonna be more of a chess match, you know? Dictated by Danny. Canelo, he's good enough, landing little counter shots, you know? Working the body. I see Canelo working the body over time, early, you know, slowing down Danny. We're gonna see how that works out, you know what I mean? I think the same reason why he got that Erislandy Lara win, why he got that Cotto win, you know? We see dudes try to do that shit, like, not effectively against Canelo. Lara did it effectively, but then again, it was so negative that nobody was angry that the motherfucker got robbed, you know what I mean? Yeah, even Rigon though, like when he was fucking completely outboxing Nonito Donaire, he was putting that hurt on him, you know? And even in making him miss, he was styling on him, you know what I mean? You gotta make a show out of it. It is entertainment, and that at times will sway the judges, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. I see Canelo winning. Decision. Dan Jacobs has the talent to win this fight, you know? But I think he gotta go in there with the approach, like, I want to stop Canelo, you know? Not, I must stop him, but I want to stop him. I heard him already talk about like he's gonna have opportunities even after this fight. This isn't his last chance, even if he loses against Canelo. Like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear that shit. This is the chance, man. There's no tomorrow, really. That should be the approach. You gotta go in there and knock this motherfucker out, man. Knock the freckles off this fool. You know? I'm rooting for Dan Jacobs, but I'm picking Canelo. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Peace out.
During this thrilling, furious battle, I found my mind wandering for split seconds, wondering, could Zale and Graciano have been this good? Could Rocky have been this good when they were just making it up and winging it and landing the kind of punches you know they never land in a real fight because fighters can't take those kinds of punches? In this fight, they did. It was one of those rare spectacles where two fighters went out to impose their wills and their strength on each other and to take risk, to risk everything, to win everything. That's why those of us who like boxing like it. We wait for these kinds of events when people at the top level give everything they have. And what we saw tonight will be stamped indelibly, and for a generation to come, I think it will be a yardstick of fighting at its most furious and thrilling.
Yoo-hoo. Canelo Jacobs. I have it 115-113 for Canelo.
Hard training camp on his system. He's 36 now. I know the difference between being 35 and 36. I've felt my body deteriorate over time, and it's a tough ask for him to do more than what he did do first time round.
I think, Dave, as well, if it's a 15-round fight, that last one, then it's a real close fight, isn't it? Because he was getting better, and I think he just found, he just found a way.
First of all, Canelo knocked him out in the 11th round. I had Kovalev up by 1 point. Shit happens, I guess. But he was gassing badly, man. And really, man, that whole amateur fighting style, man. It's almost like his power got zapped because of that style, you know. I mean, the tactics were working out, I believe, you know. On my scorecard, man, he most likely would have lost the last 2 rounds, and that would have given Canelo a close win. He was gassing. And he made like a little face, man. You could tell, like, Canelo hit him with one of these Adonis Superman downwards trajectory punches, like a right hand, while Kovalev, because he lets himself get ragdolled on the inside and has a little bit of a like body language on the inside, he can get ragdolled. His position can get manipulated, and he was gassing, so he got lazy. His reflexes slowed down. You know, even the rounds before the knockdown, before the 11th, and he gets hit by the shot, right? A right hand downwards trajectory. That shit that zapped him. You know, the lightning went through his body. He tried to put on a poker face, but he made like a little face, man, and it gave it away to Canelo. Canelo knew. It was like a little shimmy, man. Like he got electrocuted. And Canelo pounced. And the funny thing is, when he hit him with that left hook, it was actually just like a little left hook to move him. You know, like a repositioning shot. Like that shot that George Foreman hit Michael Moorer with before he hit him with the right hand, or before he hit him with the 1-2. Hit him with a little left hook, man. Just to push him into the direction where he can line him up, you know. And Canelo did that, you know. And Kovalev goes into like a real wobble. And that wobble almost like scared Canelo for a second. It scared him for a second, you know. He went on defense for a second when when Kovalev went into that exaggerated um, little running man routine, you know. I don't know. But then he realized, man, that dude is on Queer Street, and I mean, oh God, man. You know, Kovalev. It's crazy. Before that left hook, he was trying to put on a poker face, you know, and actually was somewhat successful, you know. I don't know how many people actually realized he got hurt. I mean, Canelo realized, you know. But that repositioning left hook, man, that had him all over the place. Like, he was really on another planet at that point. And just turning his chin in the right time for Canelo to realize, like, this guy's not trying to hit me. He's actually spasming. And Canelo sees the chin in front of him and just, like, naturally, you know, lines up that nice right hand that he has, man. That he had Amir Khan with, that he had James Kirkland with. You know, he has beautiful technique, Canelo, that you got to give him. He's one thick boy that you got to give him. He has a neck on him, you know. That high guard protects him, and also, like, obviously his upper body movement and his reflexes, his own timing, and his own offensive attack obviously keeps his opponents in check also. You know, Kovalev was consistently looking out for that counter. Like, he had a hard time countering, like, at the end of the combination. I believe the left hook of Canelo, he tried to counter with his left jab. Or was it the right hand that he tried to counter? That would probably make more sense. But he had a hard time, man. He had a hard time, like, going last. Early, when he was a little bit more livelier, you know, when he could use his, like, legs and his feints, and the jab was a little bit more rapid and came in more succession, you know. Then he could actually afford to box with Canelo and win the counter-punching game. But there were early signs that Canelo could box with him. And that you got to give him. And Canelo is one slick dude, man. One slick Irish Mexican. You know what I mean? He's got it down. He's doing some pretty things, man. The way he will, like, completely turn with a punch and come back with a Hadouken counter punch. You know what I mean? He's special in that way. You know, very comfortable fighter, man. He has still that tendency when he goes on the back foot. Like, he will take breaks. You know, he will do that. Who can blame him, man? The dude's fighting at light heavyweight right now. It's kind of counterproductive because he has so much. He had so much success in walking down Kovalev, actually, and still, like, not necessarily winning every round, but, like, being competitive as far as, like, swapping rounds with Kovalev, and not having necessarily to work that hard. You know, he had to, just by putting that mental pressure on Kovalev and his tight defense. You know what I mean? That allows him to consistently, like, apply that type of pressure without necessarily expending that much energy. And Kovalev, man, he was feeling it. You know, those old bones, man, they got rusty. Like he was actually accepting a lot of these shots. I feel like he felt like Canelo couldn't hurt him, seemingly. You know, at times when he would lose, like, a counter punching exchange, I mean, he was taking these shots actually very, very well, you know, and he was getting hit. He was getting hit with some good shots by Canelo. And I wonder if Canelo was getting a little bit, you know, nervous, man. You know, the longer the fight went on, no real reaction by Kovalev when he hits him, although he's hitting him pretty clean. Like, Canelo, he plays around, man. He plays around, as if he had the judges in his pockets. You know, the way his demeanor is in the ring, he has that type of comfortability, I believe. You know, like a Michael Jordan, knowing that the refs are, there's special rules for Michael Jordan, man. You can't touch him. The ref's gonna call a foul on you, that type of thing. You know, he's the favorable son. You know, alongside with, like, extreme skill set, you know, with a very good skill set, extreme skill set. I don't want to overdo it now because he beat Kovalev, but he knocked him out, and that's some dramatic shit right there, man. I had Kovalev up 1 round, so that's my take, man. I'm gonna cut this video. Maybe I'm gonna make one, you know, later on. But that's how I had it, you know. I picked Kovalev. I actually thought, man, that was too big a jump. I thought Kovalev would. I don't know. I don't know what I thought. Actually, the fight did pretty much play out like I thought. Yeah, I gotta give credit to Canelo, man. He's a way better boxer than I give him credit, really. And he knows how to win rounds, man. He's very smart that way, you know. What did Keith Thurman say about Floyd Mayweather? He's the best at winning 7 out of 12 rounds or something like that. Yeah, I guess that applies also to Canelo, and also he's a puncher. Like, you gotta give him credit, man. Like, I think he beat the best boxer at light heavyweight, and that you gotta give. Did he beat the best puncher? Maybe not. A couple of years ago, probably Kovalev would have a little bit more, just a nasty streak, you know, just wanting to hurt, that type of shit. Once you pray with the monks, some of that killer instinct goes with the wind. The killer instinct, man. I'm sounding like Pacquiao and Freddie Roach. Anyway, man, all the credit to the new WBO light heavyweight champion, the super middleweight title holder, and the unified middleweight champ, so Canelo Alvarez. Still no Hammer and Hank.
Speed and class just make him an easier target. There's the body shot, and again from Alvarez early on, and a left hook to the body. No feeling out process from the Mexican.
No, Rocky Field in fairness, come out, took the centre of the ring, tried to get his jab going, tried to back Alvarez up. I don't know if he's backed him up, but just Alvarez has elected to back off and have a look.
Already reddened around the ribs. Rocky Fielding does come back with a combination. Good defence from Alvarez. And a lovely shot. Lovely body shot, whipping these in early.
Yep, that was a great body shot from Canelo. Got behind the elbow.
Backing, Fielding up on the ropes, and prepared to take the fight right to the Brit. Not in any way daunted by the size or the weight. It's Alvarez, and back comes Fielding.
Yeah, this is good for Rocky though, answering him back. And Canelo's landed some big shots there, but Rocky Fielding, fairness to him, comes firing back.
Another body shot,
good
and
body
down
shot.
goes Fielding in the first round. Another
Some big shots there, but Rocky Fielding, fairness to him, comes firing back.
Another body shot,
good
and
body
down
shot.
goes Fielding in the first round. Takes the knee, and just about gets to his feet.
A minute left in the round, Adam.
He was blown away by Callum Smith in a round in Liverpool. Could it all happen again? He's going to bite down on that gum shield and try and survive. But Alvarez, the predatory finisher. Another body shot. The tactics.
Well, that hurt as well, Adam.
From Alvarez.
He needs to get close here and tie him up.
Left hand as well. To the head this time from Alvarez. And at the moment, it's all far too much for poor Rocky Fielding.
Yep, I think he needs to close the distance, try and hold him, survive the moment, get through these last 30 seconds, get back to the corner, the head clear.
Tries the uppercut. He's getting those gloves in tight, Fielding. Can he make it? Back to the corner and back to the safety of Jamie Moore. Back to the corner and back to the safety of Jamie Moore.
Yeah, I think he's going to make it through the round.
10-8, round 2, Canelo, but Fielding survives. Just.
You're holding your feet. That's a half step. Try and get it coming out.
Yeah, Canelo just lifted him up with the right uppercut, then found that gap behind the elbow and sunk it in. Absolute signal right in that floating rib area to suck the wind out of Rocky's mouth. And he probably did the right thing by taking the knee, trying to get his breath back. Just see him here and he lifts him up, gets around the elbow again. He took that well, because that hurt him, but he sucked it up. But he's found the gap already. He's done in the first round. He's found that gap around the back of the elbow. Nightmare start.
Some are saying there's weight divisions for a reason, but there's also levels in this game.
Absolutely, Adam. And Canelo Alvarez, there aren't too many that are on that level. He's in the very elite of elite fighters in the world today. Got to be in everyone's top 5 pound for pound, and he's the #1 superstar in boxing.
The white trunks of Rocky Fielding, with his children's names on the front and back, and the all red of Mexico's Sal Canelo Alvarez. Still just 20-80. Seems like he's been around for years. Thumping in the body shot. Fielding trying to come back with uppercuts of his own. He can bang, but can he do anything in with someone like Canelo? Right hand to the body.
He's getting good shot from Rocky there, throwing the rocks up to the middle. I was going to say, he's finding it a little too easy to get close to Rocky. He's just walking forward, he's getting close to him, and Rocky's not fainting, he's not hitting him as he comes.
Well, it's
good
the long,
body shot.
It's the long body, isn't it, that he's finding. Fielding digging in, trying to get his own uppercuts back. There's another left hook to the body. Just has to backtrack, Fielding, towards his own corner. But this is brave. He's throwing the leather back at Alvarez.
Yeah, opening up with quick flurries. Getting through with some uppercuts.
Right hand from Alvarez. Back comes Fielding. It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, very exciting. Fielding answering him back with quick flurries, 3-4 uppercuts, then finishing on the hook upstairs.
Oh, uppercut from Alvarez. Back comes Fielding. And they really are throwing hard punches in there early.
I think Rocky's realised there's no point trying to move around the ring here and outbox him. He probably feels more comfortable standing toe-to-toe. Even though he's coming off second best, he is landing his own shots as well. He is having success. This is good work from Rocky.
Yeah, he's done much better, but there's the uppercut that almost lifts him. Rocky Fielding. What a journey he's had, Fielding. The prize fighter winner, and now he's come back from that Callum Smith defeat and rebuilt his career. It's all
another body shot.
Another body shot, and down he goes. 20 seconds left in the second. And the body shot's undoing Fielding. He's just about all right. He says he's okay, but he knows he's in a whirlwind of trouble here. He knows the difference.
He knows he's never been in with anyone at this level or anywhere near it before. But he's doing okay. Partly, I mean, he's losing. So when I say he's doing okay, he's being competitive. He's coming back. He's landing shots. But then, you know, Canelo just pulls a great shot out the back, pulls the man down.
Excuse the language from Jamie.
You're still sitting there. You're still sitting there too long. But when you half-step him, he's catching on the shot technique. You miss. When you come to the ropes and you load to the head, sit into him.
Well, Jamie trying to give him encouragement, says he's blowing, but you know he's brave, very brave Fielding, and he's giving it a go back.
And he's having some success. And when he's throwing those double and triple uppercuts up the middle, he is landing. He's scoring punches, but it's just the quality. That's the difference. You know, when Canelo lands, you can see that effect.
He's a craftsman. You know, he shared a ring with Gennady Golovkin twice. He's
an absolute who's who. He's fought absolutely everyone of his era, even Mayweather.
Yeah, but only Floyd Mayweather to beat him. That stunning win over James Kirkland in 3 as well. This is the third here. WBA regular super middleweight title. Don't ask us to explain all the different classifications of the WBA, but Callum Smith holds the belt. The super champion. Rocky Fielding still in this, but down twice with body shots. And Alvarez looking for another. Can he survive? Fielding.
I mean, there's been 2 knockdowns, but he was okay. He went down, he was momentarily winded, and he took a knee.
These body shots,
these are good shots,
are beginning to really get home.
But this is good. This is good from Fielding. He's not allowing Canelo to pull him. He's fighting back. That's a good right hook from Canelo.
Tremendously exciting. And he's going, if he goes down, he's going in a blaze of glory, Rocky Fielding. He's trying ever so hard, but Alvarez with the added quality. And these body shots are just coming in time and again.
It's just how long he can stand this, Adam, that's the thing.
Huge credit to Jamie Moore and Rocky Fielding's team to get him in this condition over the last 12 weeks. Because I think if he wasn't, he'd be out of there by now.
Without a doubt. And not just the physical condition, his fitness, but his mental preparation. They've instilled an inner belief in him. You know, because he's still fighting back. He's coming off second best. The quality work's all coming from Canelo. With a great spirited effort from Fielding.
It's really spirited. Blood from the nose as well, but still, he chucks a right hand back at Alvarez. This is his only opportunity at Madison Square Garden. He had a photo outside here after the Callum Smith defeat, and now he's living this dream. And whatever happens now, he will go back with his head held high.
Well, he's come out and he's had a real go here.
Massive shot, this time to the head. Fielding looks at Jamie Moore. Is he going to be able to make it? Brave again, but down in every round. And how much is left?
One more time, man.
I don't think he's going to survive long. I think another knockdown. The ref's going to wave this fight over.
Oh, beautiful body shot. He almost goes down. It is over. Canelo Alvarez, emphatic, stunning, and another devastating victory to add to the pile as he becomes the WBA regular super middleweight champion. That's 3 weights now, and he arrives in a new division with new challenges. And although Rocky Fielding was as brave as he could have been, he was simply outclassed.
Outclassed by someone that's on a different level to nearly everyone else out there. I mean, there's world champions, there's good world champions, and then there's just these elite level superstars. And Canelo is one of them. He's lost once in his whole career, and that was when he was 22 years old, dragged down to 151.5 pounds. And even then, he was against the genius that is Floyd Mayweather. You know, he's just got 24 rounds with Golovkin. It was given a draw the first one. I thought Golovkin won. The second time was different, so it could have gone either way. And this is the number 1 superstar in boxing today. And that's what we've seen in there. A really good fighter in Rocky Fielding. Someone that didn't fold. He wasn't a rabbit in the headlights. He came out. He gave it a real go, and he fought back. He was hurt. Yes, he took the knee, but he came back. He landed some good shots of his own. But it was just about levels, like you say, Adam. Just levels.
Yep, this sport so often about timing and about levels. And Canelo Alvarez's timing is still right there. And he proved he was levels above one of our best in Rocky Fielding. Now, Callum Smith might have other ideas, and he might really fancy a fight with a Canelo or a Golovkin, but Callum Smith has proved by winning the World Super Series, he's on another level to Rocky Fielding. So this was always going to be an absolute